in the kitchen and heading out for some amazing adventures. Searching for hidden gems and the best Black-owned spots in America to experience incredible food, music, and Black culture. What really feels so good is seeing Black and brown people that look like me doing it big. Check out my brand new series, Savor the City. All new this Thursday night at 8 on TV1. Car wrecks don't just happen on weekdays from 9 to 5. That's why Isaacs and Isaacs, we don't keep bankers hours. We work weekends. And we're ready to fight for you. One call, that's all. Just click to get help quick at WeWin.com. That's WeWin.com. Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Menards is the leading supplier of quality roof and floor trusses. Choose from our large selection of residential and post-frame trusses or design custom trusses specifically for your project. Get started on your building project today in store or on Menards.com. Plus, view our weekly flyer for all the great deals happening now. Money at Menards. Honey, is the car ready for our road trip to the family reunion? Yep. Signed up with Ox Car Care for their extended service plan. Ox will cover our repair bills if anything happens to the car. New brakes, a transmission, AC, or engine problems. What a relief. Doesn't Ox Car Care include free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance too? Mm-hmm. We don't pay. Ox pays. Ox gets it fixed for us. They have a 30-day money-back guarantee and is A+ rated on the BBB. I remember. Ox handles their claims from start to finish, unlike those other warranty companies. Good call, honey. The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill. What a relief. Road trip, here we come. Drive with absolute peace of mind. Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-204-0255. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care. 800-204-0255. 800-204-0255. Or oxcarcare.com. These days, everyone is looking for ways to live a longer, healthier life. Diet, exercise, vitamins, mineral supplements, and public transit. Yes, you heard me right. People who live in communities with high-quality public transportation exercise more, live longer, and are generally healthier. Public transit isn't just people riding the bus. It's improving infrastructure, connecting people with jobs, and helping communities all over central Indiana. Indigo is boldly moving our city forward. Learn about all the ways Indigo is making your community better at indigo.net. Hey family, it's your girl Erica Campbell. And I'm Griff. Make sure you book your cabin now for the 2025 Tom Joyner Fantastic Voyage. We're sailing from New Orleans October 19th through the 26th. And join me and my sister Tina Campbell as we reunite the duo that you love, Mary Mary. We are celebrating 25 incredible years in music, so you don't want to miss this experience. I can't wait to sing these songs for y'all. Cabin start as low as $22.94 with payment plans through September. So lock in your cabin now by going to FB2025.com. FB2025.com. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know to check you have your phone first, before the cab pulls away. Hey, thanks, man. Oh, no, wait, my phone, come back. It's my boarding pass, credit cards, phone numbers, my life, come back. Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois. WTOC AM, W236CR, Indianapolis. Get ready for a whole new level of inspiration, Indianapolis. Tune in to Praise AM 1310, 95.1, Indy's inspiration station, and let your spirit soar. The following is a paid program. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views of Radio 1, WTLC AM 1310, 95.1 FM, and its management. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Unity in the Community. And we are downtown Indianapolis, joined today by co host Dr. Wayne Moore.
My friend, how are you?
Good. Good afternoon. They got something going on down here.
Yeah, the turf is busy, man.
It's busy last week, too.
Yeah,
A lot going on with the track and
yeah,
all that sort of thing. But nice day in the 70s. If you want to get out and do something with your family, walk, jog, run if you're at that level. Enjoy nature.
yeah,
Just enjoy your family going out today and have a good time. Dr. Moore and I, we are here open mic Saturday,
yeah.
and we want to hear from you. We want to talk about what you want to talk about. 317-480-1310. 317-480-1310. Also talk about some things that Dr. Wayne Moore and the Baptist Ministers Alliance are doing here in the city of Indianapolis. If you didn't know, it's one of the leading Black civic agencies in the city of Indianapolis, along with many others. But they've done quite a lot of great work over the years. So maybe perhaps he'll share with you some of the things that they're trying to do and doing at this season. Again, 317-480-1310. 317-480-1310. That 239 number was the one that we had when we were on St. Joseph. And that was the number that I shared with you for almost 30 years to call when we were on at Wednesdays. We were Monday, Tuesday, and on Wednesdays we were live, Thursday and Friday pre-recorded, but kind of hard to forget that number. But anyway, the new number, 317-480-1310. Dr. Moore, if you could lead us in a word of prayer.
Gracious God, our Father, we are grateful once again to be not only in your presence, but to be mobile in your presence. We thank you for how you have kept us in spite of the crisis in which all of us are experiencing in our own spaces. We pray that you will bless and keep us today to have conversation with community. Help us to be relevant, real, and help us to understand that all of us have an opinion, but we cannot run from the facts. Bless us today, God, as we continue to do your work in your will. Pray for those who seek you in guidance and in revelation of their lives. We pray you'll do it. We know you will. Now bless this show in the next hour. Thank you, God.
Amen. Thank you. Again, 317-480-1310. 317-480-1310 is the number to call on this afternoon. Open line Saturday. I want to talk about what you want to talk about. Dr. Moore, in my preliminary remarks, I was talking about the Baptist Ministers Alliance.
Yeah,
And it's a historic
yeah,
organization here in the city of Indianapolis. Kind of tell our listening audience, some who might not know, what it is and its work and what you're doing with it, because as I understand it, you're the president
yeah, yeah.
and you have been president for several years now. Congratulations.
hmm
What is the Baptist Ministers Alliance and what are you all working on?
Well, I think at this particular time, the climate in which this organization is functioning in is a climate of being very informative and talking to as many people as we can about the climate in nationally and especially locally, um, because we're about to experience some horrific changes all across the board, from healthcare to education, from education to even job situations as it relates to the DEI situation in the state of Indiana and in Marion County. Um, but what we're doing right now is just trying to educate and get as many clergy persons to be a part of the conversations and making sure that our parishioners are very clear in understanding what's about to take place in July 1st, when all of these things begin to roll down in the community.
So July 1st, coming up, a lot of things are going to be happening.
Due to the every bill that was signed that came through the legislative arm, is it is the day when they enact those particular bills.
And there's some national things, some tariffs. Of
Yeah,
course, some tariffs are already going, but I think in July there's some things that
yeah,
are
yeah.
going to happen too. What do you think about that? The tariffs that have been
activated, and then the ones that are coming out in July.
I think, in the words of Ronald Reagan said many years ago that, and Ronald Reagan said two or three good things in his tenure as president. But one of those things that he said was that we ought never to create a tariff war, and we're in that. And and the tariff war that I see today, it's really not beneficial for communities, cities, and states, the businesses, etc. It was something that did not need to be. It was something that stemmed from, I think, greed. Not only greed, but propaganda as it relates to relationships with allies. And now we're going to fill it, gradually filling it this summer in the grocery store. You know, I'm a melon eater. You know, and so to where you could get a watermelon last year for $5, you're getting them now for $8. You used to could get a uh, one of those dark watermelons. I can't remember, sugar baby watermelons, for about $8 because it was the sweetest, top of the line. But now regular watermelons that are not in the sugar baby category are $8 now. So that's just something I've noticed all the time because I'm a melon eater. And let me say, white folks eat watermelons too. So we just be clear about that. But I think in many cases when we look at it and we try to understand it, there are going to be a lot of suffrage going to these grocery stores, a lot of suffrage as it relates to providing for families in the next 18, 24 months.
And there, of course, President Trump believes that the tariff is going to be good for everybody and usher in what he's calling the golden age for America.
Uh, to me, that's propaganda. That's political propaganda. There is, when we look at tariffs and we look at just the premature actions that have already taken place, it does not illustrate gold in any means necessary. It illustrates darkness and pain for consumers all over the country and businesses. Matter of fact, farmers are hurting more so now than they've ever hurt. And so, uh, and businesses are hurting. I mean, you know, everything is going up that um, can cripple a business within the next 6 months.
And how do you think that, of course, we're both pastors here in the city of Indianapolis. We've both pastored a number of years. I think you've pastored longer than I have. How do we minister to our congregations, and then how do we prepare people
You know, you said something.
for what's coming?
Yeah, you said something to me in a private conversation, which can be shared this very hour, and that was how the church has moved through certain cycles, the prosperity cycle, the megachurch cycle, and those cycles that the church has went through. I won't say damaged the believer, but it has hurt the believer in a way to where they have to now come to a real spiritual reality and then understand where their reliance really is now. And the message that has to take place in pulpits all across the country, especially in black and brown communities, is yes, God can make a way, but at the same time, we have to be real about what's going on. And we have to tell people in our pulpits on Sunday morning that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. But you need to understand this is the situation you're living in. You're living in a place where Medicaid and Medicare are being attacked. You're living in a place where education is being attacked. You're living in a place to where racism at its peak now has been resurrected. And so you have to tell your people, I believe, I try to tell my congregation, uh, I try to be, people can have opinions, but I try to be factual with my congregation and tell them this is where we're living and try not to do it without Christ in your life because he can see things coming before you can and he can buffer and the pain based on the relationship you have with him.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Moore. 317-480-1310. 317-480-1310. Open line Saturday. And we're here. Want to talk about what you want to talk about. What's top of mind for you? Larry, we got Larry on the line. Welcome to the show.
Pastor Moore, Pastor Jackson, you know that the Bible says 365 times to fear not. If we trust in God and try to live up to our creed, why are we, as pastoral members, telling our congregation that they should fear any man or any situation that can happen down here on earth? But that seems like all the people that are so-called representatives of the black community have been out fear-mongering. And what happens when none of the stuff they're talking about true?
Well, Larry, let me say this. Larry. That's the biggest lie ever told.
It's true.
No, you don't. No, I can do it. I mean, you're not in ministerial meetings. You're not around ministers. You're not around people who are rooted and grounded in the church. And I understand that, and I see your fruit too. It's pretty. It's. Yeah, you got some. Yeah, you and your fruit. Yeah, you need to be cautious about your fruit as well. And I just think, well, why are you worried about the other fruit then? And all I'm basically saying, you call in every week, as intelligent as you sound, to try to demean the church. You do that, and demean pastors and pastoral leaders. You do that every week. And I understand what culture you came up in. You can hear your culture, especially when you still call Afro American people colored folk. You're still confused. Whoever raised you, taught you your craft, they confused you along the way. And I want Indianapolis to know that you are a good guy, but you're so detrimental towards people that look like you, and you shouldn't do that. We got enough problems, and we have to guide our people the best way that we can. And we can tell them not to be fearful, but they're still living inside of a crisis, and you need to know that. And you need to, and you're living in a crisis whether you realize it or not.
All right, Larry. Thank you for your call and comment.
Have a great day, Larry.
Going to Bob. Bob, welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's always nice to talk to the two of you. Dr. Moore, I would highly suggest you go to some of these area farmer markets and get your
Thank you. Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one yesterday at 21st and Capitol.
I heard about that.
Well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from about going to retailers, but wait a minute here. People, and it falls into what I'm saying here. I'm not being argumentative at all or trying to provoke you or James there. People have to become more self-sufficient. They cannot continue to depend and rely on the government to bail them out of the problems that they've been self-inflicted. But anyway, you're talking about where people, I don't think our creator and maker looks at the color of the skin. Does he?
No, oh no. You know, Larry, excuse me, Larry. Don, let me tell you something. I don't look at you in color of skin until you give me reason to. To you, listen. I know you don't want to work with that, but that's the truth of the matter. None of us look. Yeah, but let me finish what I'm saying. You see, you got to understand, God looks at us as human beings. It is us that creates the shade in the pigmentation of the skin. It is us who create that.
Okay, that's what counts.
Yes.
Anyway, you talked about people struggling and this, that, and the other, who on whatever. Tithing and offering, you know, the word says, "Given it shall be given back in you." He's never. I think the word says the righteous had never been forsaken. So I mean, I don't get it here. And like, and I'm not trying to be provoking.
No.
You know, and I think I've said some very valid things here. But like, and I know a couple of weeks ago, and James, you remember me bringing this up about the certain comments or whatever a certain lieutenant governor made. Well, I'm not going to get deep into that, but I look at it like this.
Are you talking about Lieutenant Governor Beckwith?
Correct. But I'm going to make my point again, James. We need to get focused on Indianapolis and two particular things. The out of control black on black crime and the out of control these men and getting with these women and having all these kids out of wedlock.
White folk don't do that. White folk don't do that. White folk don't.
You're adding on to that.
And I have a right to add on to it. When you
But I just said across the board.
Yeah, when you talk about across the board, you got to look at everybody, my friend.
That's what I just said.
Yeah. So when you say,
I'm not focusing or getting in the segments here. I'm talking across the board. Caucasian, Hispanic, whoever. What?
Now you can talk about it. Now let's talk about it now. Okay. Because when you started talking about it, you talked about black on black crime. Now, but now we got you where you can talk about it legitimately. Now let's talk about it legitimately.
And I'm gonna base this what James, I shared with you this before on another show. Tony Dungy went on the record about 2 months ago, and folks look it up, and said it's an epidemic in the United States of America that 70% of all black babies are born out of wedlock. Now, if you got to deal with that, talk to Tony Dungy. Don't talk to Bob.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
All right, Bob. Thank you for
Have a good day, Bob.
Comment. Joyce, welcome to the program.
Thanks for taking my call. I guess he hit a trigger when he said having babies.
Joyce,
Yes.
Joyce, can you hold on just a second? We gotta take a quick break. You're gonna be the first voice when we come back. We'll be back after these messages.
Alexa, play Praise Indy. Yes, it's that easy. Discover the power of praise. AM 1310, 95.1 FM on your Alexa-enabled smart speaker. Just say, Alexa, play Praise Indy. And you're instantly connected to the best in gospel music. Let the soulful sounds uplift your spirit, energize your day, and fill your home with joy. But that's not all. Stay tuned for meaningful community discussions and inspiring messages that enlighten and empower. Whether you're cooking dinner, working from home, or simply relaxing, Praise AM 1310, 95.1 FM is your go-to source for music that moves you and words that inspire. Remember, just say, Alexa, play Praise Indy. And feel the music and inspiration of Praise AM 1310, 95.1 FM, Indy's inspiration station.
Listen to the Law Office of Kiki Gaither broadcast each Thursday at 7 p.m. on Praise Indy, AM 1310 and 95.1 FM, where Attorney Gaither is the host.
Save big at Menards and be prepared for summer heat with a new air conditioner from Denali Air. Quickly and efficiently cool your spaces with auto and eco modes to maximize performance and save on energy costs. Featuring 3 fan cooling speeds and a remote control, allowing you to control the comfort settings from anywhere in the room. Save big on Denali Air. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save money at Menards. Quality care, remarkable people. Eskenazi Health is looking for dedicated professionals who have a passion for their community. Named as one of the best employers in the state by Forbes magazine and the #1 health system in Indiana for community benefit by the Lown Institute. Eskenazi Health provides excellent benefits, competitive pay, and unwavering leadership support. Learn how a career at Eskenazi Health can benefit you by visiting eskenazihealth.edu/careers.
Healthy Minds, Healthy Indy knows how mental health struggles can affect families, friends, and communities. We provide support, services, educational materials, and more to help you lead a happier, healthier life. Mental health affects everyone, and everyone deserves to be helped. Call or visit us at healthymindhealthyindy.org.
All right, we're back, and Dr. Moore, that commercial, that was Dr. Green.
Yeah, Dr. Green, we do a
It
show.
goes way back, Healthy Mind.
Healthy Indy, yeah, we
Yeah.
did that. We started working with Healthy Mind, Healthy
Way
Indy
back.
way back with Ida Williams.
Ida Williams.
Dr. Green, you and myself,
Dr. Kane.
Dr. Kane, we were trying to do some recruitment and talk about mental health.
Mhm.
We also did something with President's wife, Michelle Obama,
Mhm.
helped us with that. And Dr. Green and myself, mostly Dr. Green, has taken it forward, and,
Yeah.
and we're still working with it. And we have a show every Friday, and we talk about
On your morning show.
on my morning show.
Fellowship.
Morning Fellowship.
8 a.m.
#1 show at the 8:05 hour in the country. And so, but yeah, he's doing a great job with it. He allows me to come along with him every now and then.
Yeah.
He doesn't take me with him all the time, but he takes me with him every now and then.
Outstanding. All right, Joyce, thanks for holding. Thank you for being on the show today.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
And what I like to say is generalizations aren't good, because they don't work well when you go trying to say all black people have babies out of wedlock. My parents were married, my aunts and uncles were married, my children are married, so I don't know where it's coming from, but I guess stuff do happen. Anyway, a child is a blessing, regardless to the union of the parents involved. A child is a blessing. And also, I just can't believe that they're quibbling over when we only got one God and denominations. I wish y'all would just tell us what God's name is, and it ain't what y'all saying. So it's only one God, and I think it's consonants, or it's groans of the heart that you would be saying if you called His name.
All right, Joyce. I don't know that we talked about God this morning. We had prayer, but if you could be a little more specific.
Yeah, I think y'all might have mentioned something about Baptists, or
Yeah, Baptist Ministers Alliance.
There's a ministerial group.
Okay, so there's only one God is my only point to that. Whether I'm not saying one religion better. I'm thinking they'd be picking and choosing what they want out the Bible and then make their own denomination. But I'm saying it's one God. And I wouldn't even go with King James. I would, his Bible, but there was something original that was transferred from. But I don't know enough about that, but it exists. So, so does the Ark, the Holy Covenant. So, it's some things I could have been on TV. I don't know where I'm picking it up, but God is leading me, and I'm going to just try to do what's right. And as far as tithes or offering, when the church, maybe your guest mentioned something about, I thought when they collected tithes, they were supposed to pass it out amongst the church, the members that had need back in the beginning when it was originally instituted. But I'm going to let y'all go because I'm holding up your line.
No, you're not holding us up, but some of the things you're talking about, the BMA or the Baptist Ministers Alliance is actually an alliance of churches. But I think what you're getting at is there are a lot of different administrations out here that do different work. The Bible talks about difference of administrations. And of course, they had that in the New Testament too, where you had different folks doing different things, but we're all heading in the same direction as far as tithes are concerned, which in the Hebrew means tenth part of. Those monies were intended to take care of the church, and when you go all the way back to when it was instituted, to take care of the things that appertain to the church, and then the church could take care of the community. So it's still good today. There's a lot of folks out here teaching that tithing was for the Old Testament, but Jesus talks about it in the New Testament and says it's something that we ought to do. You're also going to see it over in the book of Hebrews as well. But at the end of the day, not everybody's going to agree with it. If everybody was giving, whether they tithe 10% or not, if everybody who would go to church, which really it's the house of prayer. We call it church in America, but it's really the house of prayer. But we call it church. The church, we are the church, Dr. Moore, myself, and everybody else who is a believer. We are the ecclesia or the called out. We make up the church. But in American vernacular, we say, hey, we're going to church, but we're really going to the house of prayer, a place of worship. Anyway, if everybody was financially supporting the church, then the church could properly take care of the community. But a lot of people who go to church, they go worship and leave and don't give anything at all, which would be the equivalent of going to a restaurant and doing what they call dine and dash. And we certainly don't want to do that. Incidentally, when you go to church tomorrow, when you go to worship, be sure when the offering time comes to give something to help the church. Because when you go in there, the air conditioning, the heat, depending on what time of year it is, this time of year it might be the air conditioning, but it's kind of both ways on that. Um, the lights are on, and of course, you have musicians in a lot of churches where those folks are paid. I have no problem with that. Administrators and all kind of behind the scenes, it takes money to run a church, believe it or not. 317-480-1310, 317-480-1310. We got Ron. Ron, welcome to the program.
Good morning, pastors.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
I've explained to you on several occasions. I love you and wishing you all the best in God's name.
Thank you.
Pastor, this conversation or this platform is too small for the conversation that I would like to have, but that's done it. I'm going to go to what I normally do when I call Tina. I'm going to say this. Brothers and sisters, be reminded, we are commanded to love God with all our hearts, mind, soul, and strength, and to love our neighbors as ourselves. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to wish you the best, but I can only say I thank God there are no food deserts in my neighborhood. I don't know why, and I've said this before. I don't understand why there are so many churches that can build so many new structures for so many millions of dollars, but can't find a way to build a grocery store in, I guess, the neighborhood or the community. In my mind, grocery stores are money losers, not money makers. In places where they do have them, they must be profitable. Otherwise, they wouldn't have them. There's a reason why almost all churches offer child care, because it is a profitable venture. We have so many wealthy Black people who, if they wanted to create a grocery store, they could. I'm not going to think of the Pacers. I'm not going to think of the Colts. There's just so many people, former athletes, movie stars, whatever. There's enough money. If those people can in some way come together, we could, if there's a problem with places where we don't have food, somewhere in the total of all of our money, we should be able to resolve that as the issues where there's food issues. However, it's hard to get all of enough people together to do something.
Rob, let me ask. I love God and I love you, but I love reality as well. The reality of it is we do not have in some areas, some blighted areas, any grocery stores. Do you know that we have 3 grocery stores downtown on the turf down here?
As the world's second-rated scuba driver, I know almost everything everywhere.
Yeah, am I right about that?
So my answer to your question would be yes.
Okay. So what I'm saying in this scenario is you make a great point. I came along when the R Market. You remember the R Market in Indianapolis? Do you remember that?
I don't know because I'm actually from Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay, Indiana Avenue. When Indiana Avenue was still encompassed by Afro Americans before the confiscation of some entities in Indianapolis began to move on the Indiana Avenue. There was a place called R Market. It was almost the size of a Cub store, grocery store, and right across the street from the Lockfield Gardens now, which now are no longer Lockfield Gardens as we would know it to be. But you have a point there. I will not, and the fact is that grocery stores, when put in certain communities, are not going to be profitable. Because there are those who go into those grocery stores who don't have the resources, who take out of those grocery stores. I agree with that. But I do want you to know that here in Indianapolis at one time, John Lance did a great job in the community when he orchestrated the God rest his soul, the R Market in on Indiana Avenue, when it was still prominently black owned in some areas and entities and businesses there. So I understand. Yes, sir.
At all of these so-called supermercados and explain to me why there are so many, I don't know, Latino places to go buy groceries.
Right. Right.
I'm not sure that they have food deserts, but I do know they're everywhere.
Yeah, but you got to understand, if you know the history of the entrance or the movement of Latinos as it relates to local governments and state governments, they have had some privileges as they came in with the tax base. And they were able to do some things that we were not able to do. And I won't say that it's an excuse. I say that we just were not.
That's a fact.
It's a fact. And so
Same thing with the barber,
yeah,
not barber, the beauty supply
yeah,
folks
yeah.
on the south side.
Yeah, they get the tax break. We didn't get those tax breaks. I mean, when you look at the reparation ideology, China got 1.6, Japanese got 1.6 billion from the United States. When Germany took over,
Has been done before.
yeah, they got so many billions for reparation. And then when it talks about Afro American
And the
reparations,
Ukraine,
and no reparations were given.
no reparations.
And so a lot of those
Yeah,
people
the
were able to,
assistance with the war.
well, yeah, a lot of people were able to create businesses through their reparations. We never got that. And I'm not complaining about that. I'm just making a fact. I'm just bringing a fact to that matter. And that's what we do to us as black people. Well, why can't we do this? Why can't we do this? Well, we do have problems, interracial problems, but at the same time, we have not always had the privileges that other immigrants have had when they came here.
All right, Ron, we got to wrap up. Any final comments here? Oh, okay, we lost Ron there. All right, we've got Joe. Welcome to the program, Joe.
Good afternoon. I thought church was all about saving the soul. I didn't know they were gonna get off in politics and grocery store and all that. It's good for the church to do that, but the primary the church is supposed to be a saving soul. That's all I want to say. Thank you and have a good day.
Here's what's ironic about that statement is that when we look at black folk, the only two things black folk have ever had was the church, and at one time, uh, the understanding of the Supreme Court. We no longer have the understanding of the Supreme Court. Now we have the church entering back into 1960s philosophy of how to move forward, how to move a people forward. And see, a lot of people don't understand that. Voting Rights Acts, Supreme Court. Everything we got came from the Supreme Court. We don't have that. We don't have that privilege much anymore. And for people to talk about the church the way they talk about it, I thought they were supposed to do this and was supposed to save souls. It's supposed to save souls, but it's also supposed to maintenance that soul. Because he said, I go to prepare a place for you, where I am that you might be with me also. During that time, the interim, we have to maintenance those people while they are waiting on his return. And so this street religion that I hear, or this street stuff I hear people saying and trying to equate it to the church, most of it is not true because they don't know the guts of how a church works and how it operates. Churches on Monday morning will receive several calls for benevolent help. Church on Monday morning will receive several calls for counseling. Church now will receive calls on where can I get some information on how to improve my health care now. Those are the kind of calls that the churches get. And people talk about politics in the church. The church is a political place. Jesus's ministry was political because it was the religious seers and sayers that kept him out of doing what he needed to do. And very few times did he go into the synagogues and to the temples.
Yeah, and his half brother James was the head of the Jerusalem Council, so that would be the equivalent of our council,
Yeah.
where we have a president of the council.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus was a mobile food pantry.
Yeah.
At one time, he fed 5,000,
4,000
men.
Yeah.
Not including women and children. God was a clothier or kind of retailer.
Yeah.
In the wilderness for 40 years, their clothes never wore out and their shoes didn't wear out. Of course, Jesus was a hospital, and that's a business.
Yeah.
And he said, I came to heal the sick. So
Yeah.
when the church is functioning, and the Catholic Church has always been a church, if you will, that has functioned at a high level. Ron had mentioned churches with daycares. The Catholic Church they've had daycares, and they've had schools,
Well, let's just be honest about it.
and all of that.
One of the
Those-
greatest
those-
systems of education ever faced on the face of this globe is the parochial system. Parochial systems have been self-sustaining through the Catholic Church for many of years. Um, um, Charter systems can't hold a match to a parochial system, a private parochial system. So you have to give them credit for that. They've done an outstanding job in educating their children, preschool, high school, middle school. Done an outstanding job, and the parochial system is still doing extremely well. And there are some private schools who have taken on a parochial flavor, and they're doing extremely well. But when we talk about some of the things that people are talking about and being critical of the church, that's okay, because the church doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to God, and God knows how to take care of the church. And most people are talking about the church because they have a problem with leadership in the church. And why would you have a problem with leadership in the church when you don't even look at the leadership of your country? So saying that to say you won't get out and vote. So let's be very, very, very real about it.
All right. So thank you all for your calls and comments. We got Emotep coming up before we hear from him and continue forward. And this open line Saturday, 317-480-1310. We want to hear from you, 317-480-1310, as we head to the top of the hour. We got to take a quick break. I'm eyes on the controls today. We'll be back after this.
In Los Angeles County, families are returning to heartbreak and devastation. Over 11,000 homes and businesses were destroyed in Altadena and Pasadena alone. Loved ones, livelihoods, and cherished memories are gone in an instant. Praise Indy AM 1310 and 95.1 FM proudly support Brotherhood Crusade in helping these families recover. For 57 years, Brotherhood Crusade has empowered communities. Your donation to the Wildfire Relief Fund provides emergency food, clean water, medicine, and shelter, and supports long-term recovery efforts. Visit www.brotherhoodcrusade.org to donate today. Together, we can restore hope and rebuild lives.
A quick question for dads. Is your child's school providing them with the skills they'll need to succeed in the real world? Do you feel like they're safe when they go to school? Do you worry about bullying and drugs? Are they getting a solid foundation in the basics, core subjects like math, reading, and science? How about after-school programs? Does your child have access to quality activities like clubs, arts, and sports? Your child is not stuck where they are. You and your child have options. Your child could get a voucher worth approximately $6,000 for tuition at a private school. For real. Over 75,000 Indiana kids already have. Many kids thrive with the high standards, small class sizes, and more individual attention at private schools. Don't settle for less when it comes to your child's education. Make a choice. Make a change. Visit myschooloptions.org. That's myschooloptions.org. Paid for by the Institute for Quality Education.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or on third-party delivery platforms.
Thursday on TV1. I'm Chef Jannard Wells. I'm ditching the kitchen and heading out for some amazing adventures. I'm searching for hidden gems and the best Black-owned spots in America to experience incredible food, music, and Black culture. What really feels so good is seeing Black and brown people that look like me doing it big. Check out my brand new series, Savor the City. All new this Thursday night at 8 on TV1.
Do you disregard people's personal space? Sitting next to people in public, even if there are tons of open seats? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's 72-hour sale is happening now. Save up to 72% off on top brands, with queens starting at $149.99. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
All right, we're back, and
Look at that board, ain't she, man?
yeah, she's one of the
She's
best.
the best.
She's one of the best, hands down. Dr. Moore, we've talked about a lot. We've had a lot of callers, and I appreciate the conversation that and the points that you that brought up. One of the things that has to happen when you talk about the Black experience, what's going on with Black people. Indianapolis is almost 1 million people, and we are, as Black people, about 28% of that, give or take a few points. So there are enough Black people that if we supported each other, if you opened up a grocery, and there are some Black-owned grocery stores open now. There are some Black-owned restaurants. There are some Black-owned suppliers, retailers. There's a lot of Black-owned businesses in Indianapolis now, and every single Black-owned business should have lines out the door.
Yeah.
And we don't always see that.
Yeah.
If a lot of the folks, especially in the beauty supply, if all of our Black folks, Black women, would go to Black-owned beauty supply stores.
Yeah.
Now, there are some barriers that have been insidiously put in place to try and preclude Black folks from owning these kinds of things.
Yeah, that is true,
And I didn't believe it until I
yeah,
went and
so
checked
you
on it.
witness it, yeah, and
Checked on that.
yeah, and I think it's important that we understand that we're not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm just basically looking at the facts, and we don't want to do that. And we rather complain about why we're not where we are instead of look at the facts, because there are some facts.
Well, complain about who's framing up these apartment
Yeah,
buildings
my point
and these
exactly.
homes.
Yeah,
Who's getting the roofing
I mean,
contract?
you got
Who's
everybody.
who's getting the masonry contract?
Right, and you got people running around here talking about dancing and shaking with a mayor that does nothing for affordable housing, and nothing for the homeless. Let's just talk about the way it is, and then when you talk about the way it is, then they liable to come in here and shut me, tell you can't have more on this radio show no more because he said something about the mayor. No, I don't have a problem with that. It's real. I see the eviction rate going up. We're in the top 5 in eviction rate in this country. We don't have affordable housing. We don't have anything that we should that the taxpayer deserves. We don't.
317-480-1310. 317-480-1310. Don't let it be like an altar call where we got 5 minutes late.
Yeah,
People are coming down. Now's the time to call that number. It's open lines. We got an Emotep. Thank you for holding.
I hope Emotep don't be too hard on me. Don't be too hard on me, Emotep.
So he's
Gentlemen are fantastic. I thought that was a great explanation about the grocery store that my brother Ron
Yes.
made a few salient points, but I would think that if we looked at what happens at the macro level, we've got 7 or 8 major media companies now. They bought everything else up. You got Comcast, Universal, Warner Brothers, Discovery, Disney,
Universal.
Comcast, Universal,
Yeah.
Comcast, Universal. So they've all merged.
Yeah.
They got tired of beating up on each other.
Yeah.
And they all merged. Same thing with the cell phone companies. Sprint and T-Mobile merged, and Verizon bought out. I think it was one of the other little companies back then. AT&T swallowed up who they can. So what happens is they merge, because under capitalism, they even know that they can't eat each other alive.
No.
And capitalism, if they practiced it the way that Larry Kudlow and some of your older, when I took statistics and finance classes, Larry Kudlow just comes to my mind because he's always the loudest. But if it was true free market, if the true free market decided, you'd have a whole lot of
businesses closed up. Remember, grocery stores have survived. Ron, one point you didn't make, grocery stores have been able to survive. Your larger ones, especially your even before Walmart got going, your Jewel Osco back in up my area, Gary, Chicago area, we had Jewel and Osco.
Kroger has survived. Kroger.
Yeah, I'm getting to them, and they Cub Foods back in the day because of the United States Department of Agriculture through food stamps.
Let me, Imhotep, let me say something. As you throw that, going back to the Kroger thing, um, I was in Fishers the other day. Well, I watched this happen coming through Fishers, 116th Street, for about 3 months. I seen them close maybe 100,000 square foot building, a Kroger's, Imhotep, and build less than 100 yards, another Kroger, a mega Kroger. Do you understand what I just said?
We're going to build some.
Did you understand what I just said?
And departments.
Yeah. And so they built a mega Kroger, which was probably about 175,000 square feet now, and has everything in it that you want. And all I'm saying in that scenario is that I think Ron was right to a certain extent about where you put these particular situations. But you got to understand. You go right ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the USDA has helped them stay afloat too because of subsidies and food stamps. Remember, all that. The farm subsidies play a part in that. Look at the farmers now. Trump is talking about giving them subsidies because China has told them we won't buy your pork and beef now. When they were exporting 60% of the pork and beef was going to China. So now they're going to get it from Australia and other places. So crony capitalism, I think Fox Business one time talked about in crony capitalism, both sides benefit, Republicans, Democrats, because when you do that, you have to make sure that your home base stays afloat. What happens to us is, and maybe this is a question for Andre Carson, is what would our grocery store, people who open grocery stores, be assured that they would constantly get a benefit from the United States Department?
The same benefit that others are getting now. That's what you're saying.
Exactly, the same benefit. We have to remember, King said that it comes to black people, talk about pull yourself up. This from MLK people. You can look this up on YouTube.
But you didn't have any bootstraps. You didn't have any bootstraps.
That's right. But white folks was given the GI Bill. They were given Homestead Act. They were given the Square Deal by Theodore Roosevelt. The Square Deal, people, was when he told the banks to give out credit. Then they were given a New Deal. Of course, that was the New Deal with FDR. And then you had the Homestead Acts 1 and 2. You had 2 Homestead Acts. Not to mention Manifest Destiny, which said, come over here, stake your claim on the land, and it's your land.
Yeah.
So, we've got to understand the reason why the situation is the way it is. It's been systematically put in this place. What has to happen is, I ain't beating up on churches like that. I have issues with some churches. Not the large A. The majority of churches and ministers do fine. I was a junior pastor growing up back in the day. I kind of know a little bit about what's going on. And one of our main guys back then said some and did some things that we saw that we didn't like. But that's just that person. We can't apply that to everybody else. I don't want to do that. I don't like blanket statements. But what we have to do is understand if we can make the laws. We can't make laws. If we could make our own laws, you would see a whole lot of difference. But we don't have the large and the numbers and the ability to get in positions on the federal and state level. Now, on the local level, we should see better from the mayor. I'm not happy with this mayor either. I'm not happy with this mayor. I'm not happy with this city council either. These roads over in Pike are horrible. Potholes are still all over the place.
Oh, my God.
You drive through Saddlebrook, going to my house, we've got potholes that are ridiculous. I've asked what's our councilor's name? I've sent him emails over pastor. What's his name again, Reverend?
The new pastor? I just got it.
I don't even want to call his name.
Well, he's good.
I know.
It's okay.
Carlos.
Carlos. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
I've emailed him many times. Matter of fact, some of the potholes that got fixed off of 48 in Arabian Run over there is because a neighbor of mine knows Monroe Gray last year before Monroe left, and then Monroe had those potholes fixed because Monroe's not in our district anymore. Okay, I wish he was. Man, I wish we still had Monroe. I could call Monroe and get anything taken care of. I will give it to Monroe. If you said something to Monroe and you had an issue, he would take care of it. Carlos, you just won't do it.
Carlos Perkins, and you know, just to see how he got where he is, has tremendously hurt the community with some of the decisions he told him he was going to make and help the community become better. Once he got his foot in the door, he abandoned the community. He literally.
And that's what hurts. That's why.
Yeah.
That's what gives Pastor Jackson fire from the other side. I know nobody likes to hear from Pastor Jackson on the other side, but that's what gives him credit from the other side, because here we are with this guy. He came in and redrew the districts. He made all these promises, and if you go down a Radian Run right now, you're on a minefield. It's ridiculous. So, yeah.
But if it was Wayne Moore as a councilman, they'd vote him out. You know.
No, I want to.
But I'm just basically saying because I believe, even as a school board member, that I work for the people, man, and you have to work for the people because, and I understand policies involved, but you got to work for the people even when you talk about policy.
Well, thank you for taking my call, Jim. I love you.
All right, love you too. Emma Chep, thank you for your call and comment and your support of this show and many of
Yes, we appreciate
the
you.
years.
You were refreshing to us today.
Yeah. Kevin, welcome to the program.
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
Thanks for holding.
Fine, Kevin.
Hey, and this has already been done. Forgive me for my ignorance, but can we, you two gentlemen, Tech, the Larrys, a lot of intelligent black brothers who call these stations, these radio stations, once or two or three or four times a week, can we all come together and get some kind of commission going? Reason why I say that is I'm the president of a non-for-profit called the Stephen E. Shepherd Community Foundation. I signed a contract with Midwest Carpentry Union that anybody that goes through the Big Homies program, they can start next day, $25 an hour into the corporate union with full benefits. Can we come together and get some kind of collaboration together where we take care of our own people?
You know what? I'll give you an opportunity.
Before that, you called it was the Steve Shepherd. What did you say that was?
Stephen E. Shepherd Unity Foundation. We in partnership with another group called the Big Homes of America. They actually do our. Basically, I go get out the contracts. I do the community involvement stuff, and they go out and do the work for us. Prime example is we go over to the Riverside area. That's our main area of focus, and cut grass. I go out and get the lawnmowers. They supply the manpower. The people who actually going to cut over there, they don't pay for it. I pay for it out of the foundation. What I'm trying to do is get a group of us like-minded men to come and sit down together, because my philosophy is whoever you allow to feed you, you allow them to starve you. They're gentrifying our neighborhoods. We can't stop it, but we can participate. Our elders should have the age in place. They should. My grandmother's 92. She still lives in the Riverside area. She should be able to age in place.
Yes.
She shouldn't have to go live with a family member or go get an apartment somewhere else because she's getting gentrified in her neighborhood. We need to come together. Like I said, there's a lot of intelligent brothers who own these radio stations who call every week. Can we get a council together? At least, in worst case scenario, we can say we tried. Best case scenario, we can find some solution to some of our problems and not have to go to the other man to help take care of us. The Hispanics, I never once hear an Hispanic beg anything. I don't hear it. On the radio stations, on the commercials, just listen to them. You don't hear them beg. They come together as a community. And I understand our plight. Our plight is different from everybody else. That's why I want us to come together as intelligent brothers and sisters and come with some kind of plan where we can really, really start helping each other out and start getting some fruit for our labor. That's all I ask, man. Let's get this started, y'all.
All right.
I talk about it a lot. Let's get it started.
All right, Kevin, thank you for your call and comment. I think Dr. Moore and a group of others, and there are some others who've got some things going and bringing some people together. So hopefully we'll begin to see things happen with that. With our Haitian brothers and sisters, I have been to some luncheons where they have what's called the Latino Legislative Agenda. I've been to a few luncheons in the past where they put that together and then they present that to state legislators. They present that, I think, to the mayor's office. And those are all the things on their list that they want. I was at one of those luncheons one time, and at the time, Brian Bosma was Speaker of the House on a Republican, and he was there along with some Democrats on stage, and I heard him say something that was really profound that stuck with me. there were some Latino folks who were saying, we want this, we want that. And he said, well, I'm not going to support anything that doesn't benefit all Hoosiers. And I think even as black people, sometimes we're faced with the same challenge where you have legislators who will say, okay, well, that's a good idea. Black on black crime, the different things that we've heard on the show today. But some legislators statewide will not support it because in their minds, it doesn't benefit all people. So I think, and what Kevin is saying, we're going to have to be a little bit more strategic. Not that we haven't been, but maybe more so, where we're approaching these issues from a different angle so we can get the ball moving further down the field. That probably is another show. Dr. Moore, you were about to say something when I asked Kevin about his.
He could call the Oliver Baptist Church, leave his number. I'll call him back and give him an opportunity to do the morning fellowship.
That'd be a good place.
And he could, give him an opportunity to do that and talk to the community, and people can get a guts interpretation of what he's doing and how it can work for the betterment of the unemployed and the underserved.
All right, thank you. We're just about out of time. We got a couple of minutes left. I've heard it said that politics had a deleterious impact on Pastor James Jackson.
Yeah.
And that he should never have participated in politics and government. And I never have agreed that politics is a bad thing for pastors or men or women of faith. When you read the Bible, and I have from Genesis 1 in the beginning to Revelation 22, amen, there are a lot of men and women of God who are involved in government, who are involved in politics. And that's not something that, if you're called to it, would have a deleterious impact on you or your ministry. There might be some other things that happen, but certainly for James Jackson, that was not the case.
Yeah, I think in many cases what we realize is that we're here today because of preachers in politics.
Absolutely.
Whether you believe it or not, the Martin Luther King
at the foundation of it.
The foundation of it. So people can talk about that all they want, and they can try to pigeonhole the church to soul winning and all of that. But if we did not have the church and some other movements, we would not be where we are today.
So the primary goal is souls
and maintenance those souls.
Get people saved, they got needs.
That's right.
Even before, but especially thereafter. Thank you for being with us. Maya's on the controls, doing a great job. Thank you, Dr. Moore, as always.
Thank you, sir.
We'll have to have you here more than once a month. Maybe bring Dr. Green with you and a few others.
Yeah.
And we in dialogue with our community. It's been great. Until next time, from all of us here at Praise Indy AM 1310 95.1, we like you, we love you, you make us smile. Have a great Saturday.